Welcome to WrestleMania!
Well, the first Colossal Tussle was a huge success and put the WWF on the map, but could they capitalise with a follow-up on a bigger scale?
Ding, ding, ding! Let the bell sing! You and me, one-on-one in that very ring! Pro wrestling is on a life sentence, and we're here to review it with a vengeance in that very ring!
The first one was a big hit, bringing in mainstream viewers to see their favourite celebrities, and the others. So naturally, the second one had to be even bigger, and, well, Vince McMahon definitely had some ideas. Unlike the previous year, and it was such a great plan it was never done again afterwards, Colossal Tussle 2 took place in 3 separate venues. The first in New York, the second in Chicago, and finally in Los Angeles, each given an hour apiece for the first ever 3-hour Colossal Tussle, and the first ever pay-per-view Colossal Tussle in history. Which genuinely means that they not only forked out the money for all of these celebrities, but McMahon had to also pay for 3 separate venues. A decision many criticised as being a bad business call and done simply to gain as much profit as possible. Of course, this means that fans flocked to New York, saw the first hour of the show live and in person, and then had to watch 2 hours on a screen. Alternatively, if you were in Los Angeles, you had to sit and watch 2 hours of the broadcast on a screen before it was your turn. Which does explain why by the time we get to LA, the crowd looks empty. Most of the time, it's fans walking around or trying to find their seat. It took place on April the 7th, 1986, and considering the numbers they would end up later reaching, all 3 venues combined only filled just over 40,000 seats. Yeah, maybe it wasn't the best idea, Vince. This also means that we got different commentators, ring announcers, officials, and celebrities for all 3. It's a massive Colossal Tussle clusterfuck, which many have said failed to match up to its predecessor.
WrestleMania 2, what the world has come to.
The thing is, it does have a really cool epic opening voiceover, but then it randomly shifts into some 1980s sitcom music.
It is now my pleasure to introduce to you my color co-host.
Didn't think you liked those. Of course, we have to talk about the celebrities because they got some huge names here, like Ray Charles singing the national anthem, Joan Rivers, Joe Frazier, Mr. T, Ozzy Osbourne, who's blonde for some reason and stole Mark Henry's pink suit, Elvira. Then you got a bunch of people I've never heard of, like Susan St. James, Daryl Dawkins, who climbs into the ring only to immediately leave again for some reason, Cad Calloway, G. Gordon Liddy, looking like a bald Hitler, Herb. Just Herb. We all know Herb. That's Herb. By the way, how come Americans pronounce H in the name Herb, but not the spice Herb?
Herb!
Herb. Oh, there's Herb. That's my mate Herb. Kathy Lee Crosby, Dick Butkus. Some of these are NBA or NFL players. I have no idea, I'm British. Bill Fralick, Ross Francis, Tom Lasorda, Rick Schroeder. To be fair, he actually was a pretty big deal. I've just never seen any of his work. Robert Conrad. There's a lot of celebrities here, okay? That's my point. Although it is amusing that Ray's microphone stops working instantly. He sings a great rendition, and not only is the production throughout the show clearly significantly higher, but it doesn't feel as rushed as the last one, as they have a lot more time to work with. Though, it does drag a bit later. Although during a Mr. T promo, Howard Finkel cuts him short, so at times I guess they do want to get shit moving.
You know, all the dirty things he
Ladies
did.
and gentlemen,
him and
in the
Ace put me
previous
back
bout,
in Phoenix,
Mr.
Arizona.
Wonderful
I don't play that
Paul
stuff,
Orndorff
but I'm telling you tonight.
Happens later on with Hogan as well.
I'm gonna win that match, and all I can hope for is Bobby the Weasel Heenan. Please stick your nose in my business.
Everybody's feelings, we say good luck to you in your life.
Sorry, are we keeping you, Vince? But what's with the slideshow during the song? What's a mountain or a cactus got to do with America and soldier? Okay, I get that one. I mean, men in offices, people with horses. Did someone with ADHD edit this? Although I should be grateful if this was done in 2026, it'd just be littered with ads.
More than self, country love.
Introducing Subway's new fresh value menu. 15 protein pack choices, all for under $5 each.
Get ready to raid. Explore and fight.
America, sweet. America.
The immortal Hulk Hogan!
This show really portrays just how good Roddy Piper was as a heel. He was such a good talker, even if his voice keeps cracking and it just sounds like he's going through puberty.
I figured some of you folks out there, but nothing he could do could hurt me. He threw a medicine ball at my belly.
And it is weird that his promo was a lot more convincing than the actual actor. And the 80s were a wild time for their racism.
Back to Chicago and Mean Gene Okerlund.
So first on the card is Mr. Fuji, who's foreign, so he's a bad guy. Supporting Don Morocco, taking on...
It's Mr. Wonderful.
Paul Orndorff, who stole Ric Flair's robe. Yeah, Vince must be really getting off to this. Look at the size of these two guys. As much as this show was a huge improvement in production, they clearly didn't figure out how to do the split screens just yet, because...
Hello to everybody out there in TV land. A lot of people's been wanting to know.
Did Paul Orndorff just join commentary?
How Mr. Wonderful's been feeling. What has he been up to? Well, I'm going to tell you what I've been doing.
Nope, they just randomly played that audio for some reason. Was that meant to be a backstage promo? It's okay, they found the split screen button later. I will say that the first hour of this show, the New York portion, is a chore to sit through. And it's because of that bloody Susan. She is the worst commentator I have ever heard.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Back body drop.
All right. I've been waiting for this for 2 months. Oh, come on, T. I was really impressed with his skills. The first time I saw this guy, I couldn't believe he was going to really pull a snake out of there. Well, how much of this can they take, Vince? This is vicious.
Thought he was going to come up with something there, but
I can't believe that. I told ya.
She's either completely unenthusiastic and clearly doesn't want to be there, or she just points out the obvious.
well, he's going to have to do something here, Vince, or it's going to be over pretty quickly.
Gee, thanks for that input. I'm glad you're here. Or she's just chatting out of her ass.
Well, he looks like he's using some ancient Chinese techniques.
Twisting his wrist. He's twisting his wrist.
Oh, Vince, where's the referee?
He's right there, you silly bitch. Never let her talk again. There's not much to the match, to be honest. I've always felt Don Morocco had a great look, but just never had much of a personality. They both end up getting counted out. Extremely quickly, by the way. Like, when you consider the actual time that they're outside of the ring, but then later on wrestlers are outside of the ring for a much longer amount of time and somehow don't get counted out. And again, there's like two modes. They get counted out instantly or it takes 6 working days to do so. Naturally, the fans are outraged.
Fans certainly not liking.
Oh, quick, hit the censor button. We can't have bad language.
Not liking.
It's also fascinating to me how Howard Finkel managed to go bald in a single year. Next up, that guy from Spider-Man is defending the Intercontinental Championship against George the Animal Steele. Jokes aside, I was a massive Macho Man fan, and he was similar to Hogan in the fact that he was just a massive icon on a whole nother level. And it's hilarious how he doesn't know what the fuck is going on when Steele prances around like a psychopath. I'll give Steele this much, he's fascinating to watch. He's so bizarre, but strangely entertaining. And you can tell that Vince McMahon wrote this considering the fact that it's the guy who's biting people and stalking the women that's the baby face. There's literally a moment where Miss Elizabeth, who never interferes in the match by the way, nearly gets attacked by Steele and Savage makes the save, but he's the heel. I think Vince McMahon has his morals a bit confused, you know? It's a pretty decent fast-paced match. Savage performs a beautiful leap, though Steele screws up the landing, but shouldn't this be a disqualification? Do flowers not count as a foreign object? But then he uses the stuffing from the turnbuckle to blind and suffocate him. What the hell? The ending is also pretty strange. Savage hits a great diving elbow for a false finish, feels like 2026. But then less than a minute later, he gets a very sus pin, by the way. In fact, there's a few of those on this show. To get the win, but why not just have him win with his finisher? I mean, I know he's the heel and he's got to get a cheap win, but a heel can get a legit win every now and then, guys. It is okay. Pretty decent match, to be fair.
Let me ask you a question, Susan.
Yes, sir.
Do you like snakes?
Because I've got one in my pants. Want to make $1 million. The funny thing is, there's so many times where Vince is clearly trying to engage with her and have an insightful conversation, but she's just not giving him anything to work with.
Is the main event emanating from Los Angeles? Any idea who's going to win?
Well, the Hulk. Come on, for sure. Definitely.
We will also see, of course, Bobby the Brain Heenan at the side of King Kong Bundy. I wonder if he will be a factor in the matchup.
Well, maybe he'll be a factor, but I don't have my doubts.
We then get George Wells taking on Jake the Snake Roberts, who doesn't get any music apparently. To be fair, Wells isn't a wrestler, so he does alright. He's at least giving it a go. Yeah, put the belt on him. He hits a nice body slam, but he very quickly seems exhausted. Man's really got to work on his cardio. The issue is, this was only a few weeks after Roberts debuted in the WWF, so the fans just really didn't give a shit. They're completely dead. The 80s was such a simpler time when a DDT was a finisher, although it comes with complete silence.
And the 3 count. George Wells, no.
Jesse Ventura is also there, dressed as a complete moron, interviewing Hulk Hogan, who was in his 30s and still looks 76. The funny thing is, at the time, Ventura tried to arrange for a union to be made with the roster for them to receive better treatment and benefits. But Hogan got word of this and reported it to McMahon like it was Randall from Recess, and it got shut down. Ventura was so outraged, he basically gave them a big fuck you and left the company not long after this show. So you know filming this interview was awkward as hell. Already? No, this is, I guess, the first main event, which is weird because it's New York, but Mr. T's hometown is Chicago. And at points, he actually gets heavily booed, so probably a bad idea to put him in the New York section. What basically went down was after Colossal Tussle 1, Roddy Piper still didn't like Mr. T, and their real-life disdain for one another was in full swing. So what did Vince do? Put them together in a full program, of course. It was actually to the point they knew that Piper genuinely had a background in boxing, so they taped his fists shut inside the gloves in case he wanted to go against the script and genuinely fuck up Mr. T for real. To their credit, there's a lot of build up for the event and it does feel like a big deal. Obviously it's incredibly risky running a program like this, as you can tell they really don't like each other, but fuck me, it's great television. Despite Piper looking like he's wearing his pajama shorts, it's weird to watch as I'm just wondering how on earth they managed to choreograph a boxing match. This event certainly seems like more of a spectacle. For those who say it's a downgrade from the first one, I have no idea what you're smoking. And likewise, a lot of people criticised this match, including Piper himself, who called it the worst of his entire career. But I was actually kind of into it. The fans are loving it, even if they chant for the heel.
You can hold on for those 16 seconds. Come on, T.
Though it does start to drag towards the end. The punches seem legit, and it honestly looks messed up at points, and all because Roddy Piper didn't approve of celebrities being involved in wrestling. He'd have a heart attack if he saw the product today. But then the ending happened. The finish was supposed to be Mr. T knocking out Piper, but he missed the punch and Roddy fell to the outside instead. Against the script, you can see Piper lose his shit and chuck a stool at him, and the rest of the match had to be entirely improvised on the fly, which is quite impressive, as Piper body slams him to get himself disqualified. Fair play, it can't be easy to think that quickly. Piper was so disappointed with the match, he left the company for around 4 months afterwards. Although it is quite amusing as everyone is beating the shit out of each other and Howard Finkel is like, so anyway, the winner is... We then head off to Chicago with Gorilla Monsoon and Mean Gene Okerlund. But why the double standards?
A 60-minute time limit.
Why do the women get a 60-minute time limit but the men had 20?
With a 20-minute time limit.
Anyway, the fabulous sexual predator defends her rapist championship against Velvet McIntyre and the match lasts like a minute. I guess Moolah had to get back to a sex dungeon. Alright, this looked cool, I guess. Quite brutal. Women don't mess about. I don't know, you blink, you miss it. Next up, Nikolai Volkov dares to sing his country's national anthem. Thank God the Russians aren't considered evil anymore. To take on Corporal Kirchner, who's basically Sergeant Slaughter from Temu.
He's fighting him. Is that fair?
Okay, maybe we should just not let women on commentary anymore. I'm sorry, but they're both awful. It's another short nothing match. It's like Colossal Tussle 42, with Kirchner winning because... America. It does its job, but I'm more interested to see more of Corporal Kirchner. Definitely a future Hall of Famer. Next up, we have a 20-man battle royal, and everyone gets an introduction. Every single person. The fact that McMahon tried to argue that these guys weren't on steroids is just hilarious. The sad thing is, the Hart Foundation are in this, but that wasn't always the plan. Originally, Brett was supposed to face Ricky Steamboat, but instead he got this gig, and now I am very, very sad. It's a standard classic battle royal, not much choreography. Even Hillbilly Jim here doesn't know what to do.
And the Hart Foundation working over the refrigerator in the corner.
Weird sentence.
And the Hart Foundation working over the refrigerator in the corner.
And just in case you forgot that he was a football player, watch him do some football stuff. Perry actually gets eliminated and then tricks Big John Studd to get him out as well. Well, not only should this not count as he's already eliminated, but Studd was a massive heel at this point and has been talking shit constantly. So it makes absolutely zero sense for him to have trusted Perry to take his hand in the first place. Who wrote this? Triple H?
Look out! Oh,
So That's okay, Brat, you need to get used to that. The match does have a great finish as André the Giant chucks him out for the win. Yeah, they should totally make a completely pointless memorial battle royal in his memory in a few years' time. Next up, we have Greg the Hammer Valentine, who also stole Ric Flair's robe apparently, teaming up with Brutus the Barber Beefcake against the British Bulldogs, who aren't American, but get cheered for some reason. I don't know, it makes no sense. The funny thing is, Ozzy Osbourne is in their corner because he's British. It's the only reason, really. And he admitted that he was so messed up on drugs that he didn't even remember being at the Colossal Tussle 2. It's also weird seeing them stand on these corners. They should be on the top left and bottom right. What's all this? David Boy Smith quickly shows why he was such an underrated talent, and you can see the influence Dynamite Kid had in the years that followed. Some bossy directors, though.
They certainly did.
I love the old ring mat as well. There's so much spring on impact, but you can tell it must hurt like a bitch. Although I like Dynamite Kid, a lot of the time you can tell he isn't actually hurting them and is just making the noises on the mat, so the suspension of disbelief is really being tested. The action does pick up and the fans are really into it, though Valentine hitting an awkward pile driver on Dynamite Kid has aged like milk. And why is he holding his hands and staring into his eyes?
No, don't make it gay.
And how is this not a low blow disqualification? This is definitely match of the night. The Bulldogs are so good at selling and makes the victory mean so much more. And the titles actually do look really good. Then Captain Lou Albano cuts a promo after having 17 energy drinks.
Well, Gene, I made a prediction some time ago. I said it would be done, and now I've got the 16th champions in the world.
What an explosion. You had to be a tremendous inspirational source for the moment.
Fantastic, man. The British Bulldogs forever!
Well,
Ozzy, you're going to come back in their corner. This is going to be a future for you. You voted first?
well. Then we finally head to LA for Hercules against Ricky Steamboat. The match does have some sloppy choreography, but I'm more preoccupied watching the referee's ruby slippers. What's he doing? Dorothy needs them. Steamboat was another master at selling. He looks so gone, while Hercules was a great showboating heel. He hits an insanely impressive gorilla press slam, but there's not a whole lot of excitement that goes down. Steamboat continues his undefeated streak, however, with another crossbody for the win. And next we have Adrian Adonis taking on Uncle Elmer. And you see, Adrian Adonis is the bad guy because he's gay. No, genuinely, that's it. He's gay. And you can't tell me that this crowd is not chanting the F word at him.
Ladies and
the 80s. Elmer mocks him with homophobic gestures despite being the babyface, and he's constantly made fun of by the commentators.
Put the dress back on. Put the dress back on.
I never trust a man who wears pink leg warmers.
The 80s. It's a shame because Adonis is genuinely a decent wrestler, but thankfully he gets the win at the end of a very nothing match. Weird finish though, that is what keeps him down? I will admit, despite Hogan's flaws, he did know how to sell a match and make it seem important. He has many segments across the show, really hyping the main event. Next up we have the Funk Brothers, because we all remember Hoss Funk, taking on Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog, and I've only just realised that they give a black guy a chain around his neck, which is kind of messed up. The 80s. I mean, I think we all knew this wasn't going to match the earlier tag team match, it's not even close. The choreography is quite bad with Terry Funk clearly throwing himself over the ropes, but JYD was clearly upset with Terry. Look at these punches! And how did JYD never win a single title in the company? He was so good and so over. The match can be confusing to follow at times considering Santana and Terry are both wearing the same coloured trunks, but Jimmy Hart is always great as the douchey heel manager while Ventura justifies his behaviour every time.
Is he allowed to do all this?
Sure he is. He helps us with the play-by-play with that megaphone.
The match is honestly a big nothing. This is the P break. Santana was really good at false finishes before the Funks used Jimmy Hart's megaphone for the win. Yeah, that happened. Anyway.
Ooh, that looks like that dude is really hurt.
They don't even know their names. At least have some notes written down. The commentary across this show is awful. Next is the main event, though it is funny watching them having to bring out the steel cage manually. After the Colossal Tussle won, the plan was for Jimmy Superfly Snuka to turn heel on Hogan and for them to headline the following year. But Hogan refused to work with him, calling him a maniac. Can't imagine why. So for the second straight year, the main event isn't what the obvious sensible match would have been. And we get another segment of Hulk Hogan working out with Hillbilly Jim, who was in Chicago earlier. Alright. We get a flashback to my mother beating the shit out of him, so it is fairly obvious the outcome of the match. But it does present Bundy as a great obstacle for Hulk to overcome. And Hogan does sell the injuries as legit. In this segment at least. Bobby Heenan actually had health problems at the time and was in hospital with MRI scans. But McMahon threatened to fire him if he didn't show up. So Bobby literally boarded a plane, flew to LA, did the show, flew back to hospital. Because it was a great, healthy working environment. The 80s. I have to say, the old cage looked like arse. It also looked really small. I think I could climb that in 6 seconds. Hell, Hogan even shows during his own entrance how quickly it can be climbed.
Look at Hulk Hogan, the greatest professional athlete in the whole of the world.
I think Lord Alfred Hayes is sleeping with Hulk Hogan. Hogan's politicking really starts to show here. I mean, logic would dictate that Bundy should dominate the match, but instead, Hogan does. The majority of the match is Hogan in control, and he doesn't even sell the ribs. The funny thing is, Hulk himself later admitted that he hated this match and claimed that Bundy was far too enthusiastic and hurt his ribs for real. Clearly didn't show it, mate. There is a small section when Bundy is in control, but he takes 3 working days to climb out the damn door. It's so irritating because he does it again and again and again. The direction is even off. Hogan gets back in control and mugs to the crowd to give Bundy enough time to blade himself, but the camera stays on Bundy the entire time and makes it super obvious. It makes no sense. They hyped Bundy up only for Hogan to dominate, and he also could have escaped several times and never does. The only time Hulk slightly sells the ribs is when he fails to body slam him. The ending is pretty cool as Hogan goes over the top while Bundy takes an age to go out of the door and it's a race. The match itself is alright. Some have said it's the worst main event in Mania history, and it's not even close. Then Heenan gets cornered. Climb the cage. Why is everyone a dumbass? And why did he try to put Heenan's arm over his shoulder? Then Hogan forgets his ribs are meant to be broken and just celebrates anyway. The Colossal Tussle 2 is certainly better than the first one. They had more money and better production. It felt more like a big spectacle. It felt like an event. The Bulldogs match was damn good and the others were pretty decent too, albeit with a couple of duds in between. It's a solid show. And we're only just getting started.